Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight for this very special edition of Ask the Expert. I'm Catherine, and I'm the virtual coordinator for the National Aphasia Association. The National Aphasia Association is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to promote public awareness and understanding of aphasia, to promote research that aims to improve the lives of people with aphasia, and to provide support to all persons with aphasia and their care partners. Hosting with me tonight are Darlene Williamson, president of the NAA, and Denise McCall, one of our affiliate liaisons. And as I mentioned, tonight's a special Ask the Expert event. Darlene Williamson, our president, is joining us and will be announcing this year's recipients of our Advocacy Award, the Martha Taylor Sarno Advocacy Award. We'll have the opportunity to hear from our award recipients, followed by the opportunity to ask them a few questions and hear some accolades and remarks from others in the community about the impact that they have made. But first, a little bit about this award. So last year, in honor of the 35th anniversary of the NAA, the Board of Directors created an Advocacy Award to be given each year to honor achievement in fulfilling the mission of the NAA to promote public awareness and understanding of aphasia. An advocate champions a cause for the greater good of the community impacted, while often generously sharing their own journey as a source of connection and true understanding. This award is named after the NAA's founder, Martha Taylor Sarno, who's a speech-language pathologist and whose work as a clinician, educator, and researcher has had a profound impact on the aphasia community. Last year, we presented the first Martha Taylor Sarno Advocacy Award to Gabby Giffords, former Congresswoman and aphasia advocate. If you missed it, the recording of last year's webinar is available on the National Aphasia Association's YouTube channel. And now I'm going to turn it over to Darlene Williamson, president of the NAA, to present this year's award.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you all for being here. This is such a fun night. The last Ask the Expert of the Year. This opportunity to highlight someone who has cause of the NAA, and this year his career serving our country, as you'll learn more about during the course of the evening. And he continues to serve our country even though he has aphasia as a result of his stroke. When you're working at the highest level of government, particularly in intelligence, your choice of words must be instantaneous, because what you say is critical and impactful. Losing that ability of instant word choice can be devastating. Moreover, when you are at the highest levels of intelligence, being cautious and secretive is a mandate. Then you have a stroke, and the words don't flow the way they used to. There are choices. You can repeat secretive, or you can keep moving forward and it's possible to do, possible to it, of faith. Thank you, and we're very grateful for that. Jeanine, the role of a military wife is demanding. Nobody doubts that. from any and every perspective. So in some ways, Jeanine had years of training to become the care partner of someone following a small management, the prediction of needs, the support emotionally and physically, all took on a new meaning when it applied to Mike's rehabilitation. Small but mighty Jeanine did every role beautifully. For this reason, on behalf of the board of directors of the National Aphasia Association, I'm so happy, and as with Jeanine Hayden, you both represent the highest level of aphasia education and advocacy. The award and a kaleidoscope shifting, creating new patterns depending on the light and the person's point of view. It teaches us that out of something that could seem broken, beauty. And that I congratulate you on behalf of the board. Thank you with us, and let's have a fun evening.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. Thank you again. We maybe want to talk about what we did in the Air Force and then after the Air Force. And so I have some slides, if that's okay. Okay. Okay, I hope it is okay. Is that right?
Looks good.
Okay, well, about our life pre and post stroke, okay? So we went to Anderson Air Force Base on Guam.
Very early in our career.
Yeah, and we had 2 kids when we got there, but now we had 3 when we left.
Yeah. And it was a tropical island, but part of the U.S. It's the U.S. territory, and it was a great place to be with toddlers. They could learn how to swim, and Mike worked rotating shifts, so they got to bond with their daddy a lot because he was home in the daytime sometimes.
But when that happened, we had dinner, and then what happened?
And then I put everybody to bed.
Right. Here is our house.
When we lived there, that's
yeah.
what it looked like.
Yep. We went to Osan Air Base in Korea. This is a house that we stayed at.
And we lived in an apartment building. They were 2-story apartments, and that was interesting. And there weren't many other families there. It was a small community, but fun for our children.
Yep, indeed.
And educational too,
Yep.
for all of us.
Then we went later on to Sofia, Bulgaria. This is Nevsky Cathedral. It's a lovely place, even though it was a communist country at that time. Okay, look at this next thing is there, Vitosha. We could see it from our house.
Yeah, and our children, actually, it had a small ski slope, and our children learned to ski on Mount Vitosha outside of Sofia, Bulgaria.
Yeah. We then went to Patch barracks in Germany. And this is a war in Yugoslavia, Sarajevo, for example. So I had a lot of time in Sarajevo. There is Sarajevo. It was really ugly. Okay, it's a Holiday Inn, and I stayed there.
And it looked like this when he stayed there because Sarajevo was being regularly bombed.
Yeah. This is Seoul, Korea. Go ahead, please.
We had a second tour in Korea. The first tour was out in the sticks in a small community, and the second one, and we had children with us. The second one, we didn't have any children with us, and we were in the heart of Seoul, Korea.
Yeah,
and
we liked it a lot. We liked it a lot for both times. And then I was at NSA, and then I was at CIA. Okay, and then I retired. We were able to do many things. This is Abu Dhabi.
And we're actually in a brand new mosque. It hasn't been opened yet, but they were showing off this beautiful new mosque to us that we were hosted by the government there.
This is interesting.
This was
Jeanine has to tell you something about it.
Yeah, this was when Mike was in CIA, and so we would travel on a C-17. And inside this which is a big Air Force cargo plane, but inside the C-17, they would put what they call a comfort pallet. So there were no windows to look out, but the comfort pallet had a sort of a suite. It was a room, and we had there was a nice chair and a nice couch, and they could make it up into a bed.
But also too, they had a
full bathroom with a shower.
Yeah.
And our most exciting flight on a C-17 was actually leaving Sarajevo.
After the war.
This was after the war, and they had a bird strike. And so we
were just going up, and then they said, no, let's go down. And everything on the part of the plane was flying away.
Well, everything not tied down was flying forward. So that was exciting. And then we got an extra day in Sarajevo where we didn't have to do business. We just could enjoy seeing Sarajevo, and Mike could appreciate the changes that had been made since the war.
Yeah.
We had another interesting flight where we got refueled in the middle of the night. And that was exciting because if you can't see out any windows, you have no idea why the plane is going up and down and around, and it was
so we went
disconcerting.
Upstairs to the cockpit.
Oh yes, and we met the teenagers who were flying the plane.
Yes, teenagers, easily. Now this is Antarctica. Now that's I wasn't in government, but it was a wonderful trip. Okay. And this is Tuscany with our daughter and son-in-law and granddaughter. It was really, you can see, we liked it a lot. Actually, Jeanine will have to say it because we walked.
It was a walking tour in Tuscany, and they would transport your luggage from place to place, and you would walk many kilometers. And it justified a lot of wine and a lot of pasta.
Yep, not a problem. This is Normandy. We were there right before my stroke, actually about 1 week before my stroke. This is the hospital. Three of our grandchildren were there. They are the small people.
The youngest
Yeah,
grandchildren.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice that they came and talked with me. This is Christmas Day
5 years ago.
5 years ago, and everybody was there.
This is also the hospital, and we had our whole family there for dinner. And
Yeah,
to celebrate Christmas, we got a little private, we managed to reserve a little room in the hospital, and
Yeah.
we were able to do that. And now most everyone is in the picture except our daughter, who is taking the picture.
taking the picture.
And go ahead.
This is all the kids
And grandchildren.
and grandchildren. Where was it?
It was at Cirque du Soleil
Yeah.
in Tyson's Corner here, and yeah,
Yeah.
before the show.
Yeah. This is, I thought this was very important. Maybe Jeanine could say something about it.
So before Mike had his stroke, he was a commentator on national security issues and CNN, and he had gotten to know Don Lemon, who was still with CNN at that time. And after Mike's stroke, Don contacted him and asked if he was ready to be interviewed. And I think this was it was June, I think, after the stroke that was in November. And so this was getting set up for the interview.
But also there was another thing going on at NPR.
Oh, and then some months later, you did an interview.
You did an interview.
We did
as
an
well.
interview with NPR.
Yeah.
And I think I did a little talking on this one too.
Yeah. So this is Christmas 1 year ago. Okay. And one other picture. This is my youngest grandson. He's talking about soccer, talking to me, and I think that's a nice way to end it. There, I think so.
Thank
Okay.
you for sharing that glimpse into your lives. What a beautiful family and some amazing memories you've made. Remarkable.
We do want to say how honored we are to receive this award.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, it is very, very well deserved. And I know that Darlene's comments were a little bit spotty, unfortunately, due to that Wi-Fi connection. But we have some more accolades and comments coming that we're excited to share. And then we'll do some questions for the two of you as well, interspersed with that.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to share my screen to kick it off with a few of the comments we have from folks in the community. And Denise is going to help and share some of these wonderful comments with all of our audience tonight.
So this is from Dr. Martha Taylor Sarno. She said, I am honored that the highest award of the NAA carries my name and that it is being presented to someone who has used his public persona to educate the public about aphasia. I have always understood and respected the role of a care partner, and therefore I am pleased that both General Hayden and his wife Jeanine are being honored. This is from a former Congresswoman, Gabrielle Giffords, and her speech language pathologist. And Gabby says, congratulations, thanks for your steadfast work in advocating for people who have aphasia. We all have to continue to fight, fight, fight every day. This is from the Stroke Combat Center. Congratulations, Mike and Jeanine. Thank you for advocating for people with aphasia and being a part of our community. This should bring back many memories.
Yeah.
All right, and we have a few questions. Would it be all right to ask you one now, and then we'll get back to some more remarks?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Great. So General Hayden, someone asked if you're continuing to work on your communication skills and if you're continuing to see improvement.
Yes, I am. And yes, I do a bit more every, about 2 years ago, Jeanine said, why don't you write? I'm saying, oh, I don't know. It'll be really hard. I read, but to write, oh, I don't know. Well, I'll try it. And I did at the Stroke Comeback Center, and I do it every week. It's 100 words, okay? And it takes me about a half a day to do it, okay? I had 2 books that I did, and now I do it for a half a day, but it's I like it a lot because I can see I can do more and more.
And interestingly, I'm with him every day, and you would think that I would not notice improvements, but I have noticed improvements. Every once in a while, I'll be struck by how fluent he's become. And as I get older, sometimes I'm searching for a word, and very often it might be kind of an obscure word, and very often he comes up with it before I do.
That's remarkable. And I think that's a wonderful message of hope for a lot of the folks in our audience to know that that progress can still continue and to work on your personal goals that you have as well, right? Everyone's journey is different too.
So what I'm supposed to say now is I want to do an op-ed. Now I can't do it yet, but maybe later on I can.
Love it. We'll be so excited to read that.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear some more remarks. I'm going to share my screen again.
Oh.
This one's from Porter Goss. He says, no surprise at all that the Haydens are being celebrated by this award. They are a force for getting difficult things done. I know Mike likes to be in the thick of things. After many years of working with him on consequential national security matters, I learned that Mike successfully rises to the challenges that matter. Congratulations to Mike and Jeanine.
That's very nice.
And this one's from Jane Harmon.
Oh, good.
Mike Hayden's illustrious career is far from over. He and his wife demonstrate every day that they haven't given up the fight. Their personal courage sets a high bar for the rest of us, and their contributions to a better and stronger American continue.
Oh.
And James Clapper, Mike and Jeanine Hayden have inspired and educated many people about aphasia, to include me. They took on this profound challenge just as they did all during Mike's illustrious career, with leadership, courage, determination, and grace. My congratulations to them both for this richly deserved recognition from the National Aphasia Association.
Very nice.
Mm. So they mention about this profound challenge, and we'd love to hear from both of you, both from being a person with aphasia and a care partner with someone with aphasia. What would you say was one of the biggest challenges that you've each faced in your roles?
Go ahead.
Well, I'll start this time. For me, Mike and I have been married a really long time, and I wanted to be helpful. And early on, I knew where he was going, and I could finish his sentences for him, but I had to learn not to do that, and to I guess, be more patient and let him find his way to what he wanted to say.
For me, sometimes it's a little bit hard. I know what I want to do. For example, I read a lot and I want to talk about that, but sometimes I just can't find I don't know how to say it. And it's a little, because I know what I want to say, but I just can't say it. So that's a little bit of a problem. But more and more I can do it, especially in intelligence, for example, because I have a lot of intelligence.
And by that, he's not necessarily talking about his
No,
intellect. I think he's a pretty smart guy, but
I
This-
know about that.
yeah, the thing he spent his life doing, yeah, he knows so much about it that those words seem to come more easily
So,
to
for
him.
example, people call me and talk about, well, how about this? What about this? This is from newspaper men, you know? They just want to talk with me, and maybe I'll go to the McLean family restaurant and meet them and talk with them for an hour or so. And I was able to do it. Occasionally, it'll be hard, and I'm saying, okay, this is important. I want to talk to you again one more time. And then I was able to do it.
Interesting. Yeah. So the things that for you are really in your wheelhouse and you spent your life talking about, you found that that came back
Yes.
easier.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both for sharing those challenges. Let's see some more accolades,
All right.
shall we?
Oh, Michael.
Okay, this one's from Mike Morrell. Mike Hayden was an amazing leader at the CIA, so it is not surprising that he has been a leader in destigmatizing aphasia. It is yet another significant contribution that he has made to the country.
It's very nice of you.
Yeah.
And Mark Roselle says, the Schar School at George Mason University is grateful for the work that our colleague General Hayden and Mrs. Hayden are doing to advance public awareness of aphasia and to inspire others affected by the condition that they too can continue to live very full and productive lives.
Yeah.
And Michael McConnell says, General Mike Hayden is a great American, a great public servant, and a great friend with whom I've had the pleasure to serve. Wickedly smart and dedicating his life to the safety and security of the country and our allies, General Hayden excelled for his entire career from second lieutenant to full four-star general leading the CIA. Serving as director of NSA during the tragic 9/11 attack on the US in 2001, General was instrumental in establishing the framework for bringing Osama bin Laden and many of his supporters to justice. The nation is indebted to General Hayden for a lifetime of dedicated and inspirational service from Cold War to hot war to the pursuit of terrorists, and now in support of efforts to raise awareness of aphasia, a condition affecting him and millions of Americans. And he has done all of this with the support and involvement of his wonderful bride, Jeanine. The country is safer and better for the service of General and Mrs. Hayden.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about raising awareness, and we do. Folks can feel free to add questions if you think of them in our Q&A box. Someone asked, how do you respond to comments that reflect some ignorance surrounding aphasia? Because we know that still many people haven't heard of it and don't understand what it is. So what has your experience been like with that?
Well, after my stroke, I was in the hospital and said, what's going on? And Jeanine and the doctor said, "You have aphasia." And I said, "What is that?" And unfortunately, a lot of people don't know about aphasia.
Mhm. I don't think we've experienced any people
No,
making ignorant comments or rude comments. It's been, in fact, I can't think of any examples of that, but people have said, when Mike says I have aphasia, or when I tell somebody he has aphasia, they want to know more because they don't have never met anybody with aphasia, or they don't really understand what it is.
but it's very interesting. So about 3 years ago, I did for the DMV, and then I drive all the time, you know? And a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you can't drive, can you?" I said, "No, I can't. It's okay. I have aphasia, but I can drive. There's a lot that I have doing for aphasia that I can do that."
And of course, you're a member of our board. How does your service on the board of directors of the NAA affect your recovery and helping with awareness?
So I'm learning about it. It's a different thing for me, but I'm looking forward to it every time, because most of the time I don't know about that and say, "Oh, I should have known about that." So that's a good for me and for the rest of the people.
So it's an opportunity
Yes.
to both serve and learn.
Learn. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's one of the amazing things about this community. Everyone is learning from each other and collaborating and connecting. And obviously, there's more power in that than operating on your own. So,
Well, for example, I go to the Stroke Comeback Center. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 times a week, virtual and also um,
Person.
in person. Okay. And it's very interesting to talk with the other people, you know. I learned a lot.
great. All right, well, let's share a couple more remarks.
Oh,
Okay, this is from Susan Gordon. I have known the General and Jeanine for decades. They are the ultimate power couple, not because they wield power, but because they give power to others. They gave it to their organizations through ethical, purposeful leadership, to their communities by lending their voices when others couldn't yet find theirs, to each other when circumstance created personal challenges, and to the people by their unflinching example of what excellence, strength, and resolve looks like. I am profoundly grateful that our paths have crossed. I am better for every lesson learned and moment shared.
yeah, thank you.
And this is from Leon Pinata. Congratulations on the award from the National Aphasia Association for all of your great work in raising awareness of those affected by traumatic brain injury. You both are an example of the courage and dedication we all must have to care for those dealing with aphasia. God bless you.
Yeah, it's very nice.
One other question that folks are wondering, especially this fall, we focused a bit on self-care and wellness with aphasia. What, General Hayden, did you do to take care of yourself through all of this? And Jeanine, as the care partner, what have you done and what are ways that you take care of yourself?
Could you repeat that, please?
Yes. So, what are some ways, General Hayden, that you take care of yourself as someone with aphasia? And then Jeanine, as a care partner of someone with aphasia, how do you take care of your own wellness?
So, for example, this week was very busy. Okay, we went to the Kennedy Center, and
Well, we went to the CIA.
the CIA party. Okay, so we drove. Okay, and they were very nice to accommodate me for both CIA and the Kennedy Center. Okay, so we go there. 5 days ago, we went to the Shakespeare Theater with our kids, and then something to eat, and then the Shakespeare Theater. So it's hard, and after that, I'm really tired. Okay, but it really, if you don't do that, then what do you want to do? So I want to do more.
Yeah, so I think my thought is that, he's got to get out and do things, and that's one way to take care of himself. For me, as a care partner, physically, I work out with a trainer twice a week, and physical activity is important to me, to just, it helps you sleep better, you feel better about yourself, those kinds of things. And that's important. One of the things I do to take care of myself. And I know that if I keep myself healthy, I'm better able to help Mike.
Absolutely. And I bet, has that changed as your journey has evolved, I bet, and what that looks like for you too?
Yes, indeed. For example, in 2 days, we're going to Europe because our kids are in Europe, So that's a big deal for us, Usually I go there all the time for speeches or whatever, okay? But now for the first time in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we're going to Europe. So that's different, really different, but we're doing it. Now, we're going first class. I'm just saying.
That's
Lovely.
another self-care thing.
There you go.
Splurge when you can. Love it. Well, you mentioned your family, and we did have a question about how your children and grandchildren responded to your stroke and aphasia.
You want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the day that the stroke happened,
Thank God all the kids were in our neighborhood.
they were all living in the area at that time. And I actually was on my way to meet the granddaughter that was in the picture in Tuscany, because it was near her birthday, and our tradition was to go, I would take her shopping. And I was in the basement on my treadmill and with the TV up loud because the treadmill was loud. And he fell not above where I was, but in a different part of the house. So I did not hear him fall. Somehow he managed to get over, he doesn't even know how, to the staircase, where he somehow threw himself down 3 or 4 stairs and began to holler. And I heard him hollering and came running, and it didn't take me long to realize he was having a stroke. And so I called the emergency room, or called the 911. And when they came, I then called my daughter at work and told her what was happening, and she contacted her brothers. And within half an hour of arriving at the hospital, everyone, all of the kids and children-in-law, except for the school teacher, who obviously couldn't up and leave her class in Loudoun County, everyone was in the emergency room with us. So they were so supportive. We were very, very fortunate. And the older grandchildren understood. They understood what a stroke was. The little ones were fairly small at the time, I think, and the 8-year-old, who is now 13, has always been a very empathetic child. So he responded very well. His sister was confused and a little afraid, and the youngest, who was
He was
4
He was
at
a
the
little
time.
scared, I think.
Yeah, he was a little scared because when they saw Granddad was having trouble talking. Granddad was in a wheelchair, and but it didn't take them long, and their parents worked with them to help them understand. We have a lovely picture of a month or two after Mike came home, and he's sitting in a chair in the kitchen, and the 4-year-old, who was feeling under the weather, is sitting in the chair on his lap. And, so he got over that, what's wrong with Granddad kind of thing. And even though Granddad couldn't talk a lot with him at that time.
Oh,
He
we had a card game.
Oh yeah, and there's a wonderful little card game that's great for somebody with aphasia to play. Spotted, it's called, and it's cards with pictures on it, and
And
if
he wins all the time.
These kids can be quick.
Yeah.
yeah, and they played that quite a bit, and it was interesting because early on, so the 4-year-old was playing Granddad, and his sister was used to kind of helping him when he was playing that game. And she started out helping him. And then she realized, no, he's not the one having a problem. It's Granddad. And so she switched her allegiance and started helping her Granddad.
Oh, that's a sweet story. It's a fun game too.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, let's share a couple more remarks.
My goodness.
These are our last two.
Oh,
Go.
This is from William Burns. General Hayden arrived at CIA at a crucial moment in our agency's history. His leadership not only delivered us through great challenges, but also reshaped CIA in ways that continue to define life at Langley, right down to the language we use every day. Whenever our officers today ask for top cover from their bosses, they are indirectly paying tribute to one of the greatest directors in the history of our agency. It is poetic, then, that after General Hayden learned what it was like to lose a sense of language, that he and Jeanine forged another path of public service, advocating for those struggling with speech. It is a vital cause. The millions of Americans suffering from aphasia are lucky to have him as their champion. Mike is truly humbling to be one of our successors at CIA. It is truly humbling to be one of your successors at CIA. From the extraordinary example you've set within our agency and your ongoing excellence in leadership outside of it, you continue to set the gold standard for the rest of us. Thank you so much for all you are still achieving on behalf of our country and for continuing to make CIA proud.
that's very nice.
Truly. And this last one is from Larry Pfeiffer. Led and inspired by General Hayden, we at the Hayden Center host discussions, many of which he joins as a panel member on national security topics of the greatest national urgency. Although everyone's aphasic journey is different, Mike proves the one universal. You may have aphasia, but you still have your intellect. We are particularly proud of one online event, Understanding Aphasia, featuring the general and leading experts on aphasia, which we hope contributes to his and Jeanine's mission to raise awareness about and destigmatize the condition. We also applaud Jeanine's work as a caregiver and advocate. As has been true throughout his career, Mike's success is directly proportional to her encouragement and loving care. A life with aphasia is not the path either would have chosen, but we applaud their finding a way to make life with aphasia an important part of their chosen path of public service. Congratulations to Mike and Jeanine Hayden for this well-deserved award.
That's nice. Thank you.
So this advocacy award recognizes big and little things that we can do to advocate for aphasia. So what would you recommend for folks who don't have as public or big of a platform as you do? How can we help educate people about aphasia?
Well, I think Jeanine has something to say, but for me, when I go to the Stroke Comeback Center, okay, but there are only 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 people, you know, but there's a lot happening, different things happening to aphasia. And I think that those people will, I'm sorry. So I have a friend, okay? And I talked with him and I said, come on to the Stroke Comeback Center. But so far, he doesn't do that, okay? You have to do that, okay? Because if you don't, you'll be very sad. You'll be very sad.
Yeah, I think that you know, sometimes it's hard, but to be open about it with strangers or people that you meet, to be ready to say, I have aphasia, or for the care partner to explain what is going on. And I think some people feel timid or shy to do that. But generally speaking, I think in our experience, most people have been interested to hear the explanation and aren't impatient. I guess they're willing to wait while the person with aphasia struggles for the word, or, you know, well, they try to explain what aphasia is.
So, for example, about a month ago, maybe a little bit more, I fell going to my car. And Jeanine was there, but she can't get up to me, okay?
He was between two cars, and it was kind of, I couldn't pull him up, and I also couldn't get behind, I didn't have the strength to get behind him to lift him up.
This man in a car stopped and walked out of to the car and said, can I help you? And I said, yes. And he was wonderful. It was pretty easy for him to do that, okay? For me, it was very hard, and Jeanine, she couldn't do that, but he could, and he did, just in the car, and he stopped and said, can I help? That's really, really nice.
And I think that most people want to do that and are willing to do that. And in this case, it was a physical thing, and with speech, you know, they're willing to be patient. They're willing to try to understand.
Yeah.
And so it sometimes, I think people with aphasia and others around them are worried about getting out and going out and trying things. And I know Mike has been. It's as he described when I suggested he do the edit it at the Stroke Comeback Center. Well, I can't do that. Well, why don't you try? And so you just have to be brave, I think.
That's
Sounds
what stands out to me, courage. The
Yeah.
courage that it takes to accept help and to ask for help and to share be vulnerable and share what you're going through. It's
Yeah.
a great example for everyone.
And it sounds like that's what is really connecting people too, by you showing that you're open to that. It brings people in. And also, you mentioned General Hayden, those support groups and conversation groups. And there's so many of those around, both local and in person. And now there's many that are virtual online. So they're more and more accessible, all sorts of topics. You can search for them. We have a whole directory of affiliates and programs that are being offered with the NAA, and you can also find things, local as well. So those are great suggestions. And I think that's a great example of that small way to start, even just telling one person, why don't you go to one of the groups, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, I was there for the first time 3 years ago for Christmas. Okay, that was the first time I was at the Stroke Comeback Center 3 years ago.
Wow.
Wow. Do you have a favorite group that you enjoy doing?
No, I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 classes,
Mhm.
and I like them a lot.
Yeah, I can't say he has a favorite because he does so many and he keeps doing them because he enjoys them so much.
Well,
Mhm.
for example, today we had a movie. Okay, we have to watch the movie, and then today we talk about it. Okay, and
Great.
That's
it's
fun.
yeah, oh yeah, it's very fun.
And he never belonged to a book group. And he was actually, our children used to joke that Dad hasn't read a complete book in years because his work involved so much reading that he didn't have time to read for pleasure. And now he's learned the joys of being a part of a book group. Sometimes you read things you think, oh, I'm not sure I want to read that, but you learn something and you find you enjoyed something you didn't expect to. And he's learning all that now, and it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I quickly had a chance to glance over at the chat, and people are giving congratulations. And there's a thank you from someone at the Stroke Comeback Center saying thank you for your candor and continued inspiration. So much appreciated the work that you've done to raise awareness. So thank you again. Let's see. Oh, 7:55. Let me see if we have one more question I could ask. Let me check the Q&A real quick. Ooh, someone asked if you've heard any good aphasia jokes.
No.
Okay.
Well, so there was a person with aphasia, and he does a wonderful job telling jokes. We watched it
Oh, up in
in
Boston?
Boston.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I can't think of his name, but during the pandemic we were communicating with a Boston-based aphasia group every other Saturday,
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
And one of them actually is a stand-up comedian. And so we did hear some good aphasia jokes. I'm just not good at remembering them, any kind of joke, or retelling them.
But he was pretty good.
He had some really good ones because he used his aphasia as a part of his act.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. We'll have to look and find out who that is, and we can share that resource with the community. All right. Well, since we're coming to an end of our time, and I want to respect everyone's evening and their time, just a big thank you again and congratulations
Thank
to
you.
General Hayden and Jeanine for all that you have done advocating for the aphasia community. So obviously, I need not say anything more. Everyone has spoken and given their accolades. So thank you so, so much. And thank you for taking the time to join us tonight as well.
It was such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
And so before
Thank you
we
again.
wrap up, a couple more things that we wanted to share with you all. And one is that we wanted to take a moment also to recognize the role that the Willis family has played in raising awareness about aphasia and primary progressive aphasia. The NAA's awareness survey saw a significant increase in aphasia awareness in the months following the announcement about Mr. Willis. And the openness of Emma and the family about the challenges and emotional aspect has been instrumental in educating the public that when there's difficulty communicating, it affects the entire family. So thank you to the Willis family for their willingness to share and educate. And of course, last but not least, we want to thank all of you here with us tonight, our aphasia community, for all that you do, both big and small, for aphasia advocacy, awareness, education, support, community. We truly could not do this work without you all, and we appreciate every one of you. So as always, for more information about the National Aphasia Association, you can visit our website at aphasia.org. And 2023 is coming to a close, but we have some exciting things in store for 2024. Our first Ask the Expert of the Year in January will be with Bryn and Robin Bowles, who will be sharing their aphasia journeys as a person with aphasia and care partner. And we're also going to be joined by Mara Silverman, who's the new executive director of the NAA, and she's going to share about her personal and professional aphasia journey. So thank you all again for joining us tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening and a happy holiday. Congratulations again to the Haydens, and we'll see you all soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
We can continue to look at this, I
I think
guess.
so.